Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Welcome to day 17, the Viral Spirituality Bites. We've been discussing sincerity and things that pollute our sincerity and our intentions. You recall, this all stemmed from our discussion of the life of Imam Ghazali, in which he took some extraordinary measures in order to purify and to rectify his intention, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him shine like a lighthouse for the rest of humanity till the day of judgment, through the works and through the acceptance that he granted those works. So we're continuing on today with some of the discussions that stem from that, some of the things that pollute our intentions. And I wanted to talk about something very specific today, which is the fact that we should be hiding our good deeds. So let's start, inshallah. So number one, we should know that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Right? This is a very popular saying that you hear regarding opponents in battles, right? They say that the bigger the person is that faces you, when they fall, they fall harder, right? Because they have a lot more weight. So when Shaitan is trying to figure out who to attack, Shaitan is going to try to attack the biggest guy in the army, right? He doesn't want to attack the little peon in the back. He'd rather attack the general. He'd rather attack the more important person and the more important asset in the army, right? That's more bang for buck, as they say. The same way, when a robber comes to find a house to burglarize, the burglar will try to choose the house that seems like it will have the most valuable things inside it. And if there's a house, there's like, let's say 50 houses in the neighborhood, one of them has a broken down 1980s Corolla, right? And the windows are kind of broken, and it seems like the house isn't very well maintained, versus if there's like a $1 million mansion with some very nice cars parked outside, he'll probably think that he's going to get a better yield for his efforts by going to the house that looks like it's worth a lot more. Similarly, the more pious a person is, right, the more valuable big deeds they have in their pocket that Shaitan can be eager to steal. Right? Shaitan doesn't go to the person that has very few deeds to begin with. Shaitan tries to work the hardest on the people that have the big deeds, right? The people that have the hifth in the back pocket, the people that have the speaker requests coming in, the people that are on the boards of masajid or madaris, the people that are on the front lines, right? Shaitan tries to go after those kind of people because, number one, they have more valuable things to steal. Shaitan gets a bigger kick out of stealing something more valuable, obviously. And number two, oftentimes those people are looked up to in the community. Right? And he knows that if he can get the leader to go astray, then everyone else will just follow. And so this is why you'll see sometimes that there'll be like scandals, right? Where like some big imam or big scholar has something scandalous emerge about that person. And obviously they are not perfect, right? But oftentimes we think that they're perfect, right? We kind of wishful thinking. We wish that our imams and our community leaders and our all these people would be perfect, but obviously they're not. So shaitan obviously works the hardest on them in order to try to make them slip. And then once he makes them slip, he tries to have that thing become exposed and cause a big scandal. And as a result, you'd be surprised, or perhaps not so surprised, many people even lose their iman, right? They pin their iman on certain people. They say, wow, like he's like the proof of Islam, he's the person that I look up to so much in my deen, and I've learned so much from this person. So when that person slips up, it just really confuses them, and it makes them think, oh, what's going on? Is now the billah, they even start questioning the validity of their deen. That how could a person like that, who is so advanced in their deen, slip up? So shaitan loves that, right? Shaitan creates these long-winded plans of how he's going to make people slip and how he's going to ruin and destroy the communities, that the Islamic communities in the world. And shaitan, like in a battle, he'll attack the guy on the front line, right? So if you imagine like an army, like back in the day, right? There would be like a general or a king who would oftentimes be in the background. He's the most important person of the army, because if that person falls, then the whole army becomes demoralized and they kind of retreat. However, if a guy in the front line falls, that doesn't matter so much, right? So the person that's in the most danger is the person that's on the front line, the person that's charging towards the enemy with their sword or their spear. They're the ones that are likely to fall down first. So similarly, in the battle against shaitan, the guy that's in the front line, the guy that's got the most exposure, is the one that shaitan will most likely try to hit first. So what is a corollary that we can derive from this? Number one, we should try to become the general. We should try to become the general in the deen. Why? Because everybody protects the general. The general, it's too important to allow anyone to attack them, right? So inshallah, if you become a person that is important to the community and important to the deen of Islam, obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need anybody, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's deen doesn't need anybody, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses certain people, that's his sunnah, to propagate and preserve his deen. And those are usually the ulama, the warathatul anbiya. So if we can try to become people like that, people that are important to the upholding of deen in our communities, then inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide us some level of protection, right, from the attacks of shaitan. Number two thing is to realize that if we are working on the front lines, right, we're out there exposing ourselves, doing da'wah work, volunteering, teaching, Sunday school, whatever it is, right? Then we will be the targets of shaitan because we're on the front line. So sometimes actually, it's better to do good deeds and to support the people that are doing good deeds from behind the curtain, where you're not exposed to the public view, but rather you are supporting institutions and supporting students of learning and supporting good things that are commanded by the deen from the back, where nobody even knows who you are. That's ecstasy, as my teacher put it. That's ecstasy. The ability to be able to support institutions and works of deen and charity from the back when no one even knows who you are. That's the safest role, right? Because not only are we fighting shaitan, but we're also fighting ourselves, our nafs. right? And our nafs loves it that we become popular, that we become well known, and we become recognized. Shaitan loves to be recognized, right? Shaitan loves it when people, quote unquote, recognize how great you are. Shaitan loves that recognition. So by being in the background, we can avoid our nafs getting out of control and starting to fall in love with this concept of becoming a celebrity and becoming a well-known figure and become important and people that others look up to. So we should try to find places and occasions that allow us to perform these kind of supporting roles from the background. Allah only knows how many people there are out there that are supporting great works of deen and nobody even knows about them. We only find out about the people that are on the front lines, right? The people giving the talks, the people giving the charity in public, and in the newspapers or online, or vloggers and bloggers and whatnot, right? And subhanallah, I mean, sometimes we ourselves expose ourselves to this danger, right? And I'll talk about that later as well, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن تبدوا الصدقات فنعما هي وإن تخفوها وتؤتوها الفقراء فهو خير لكم ويكفر عنكم من سيئاتكم والله بما تعملون خبير. If you make your sadaqah openly, if you give your sadaqah openly, it is good enough. It's good. You're doing a good act. And if you keep it secret and give it to the needy, it is much better for you. فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. It's better for you to hide this giving of your charity. Okay? When you give charity public, there's a danger that there could be a mixing of your intention to say you're doing it to show to the people how generous you are. Right? You're doing it so that they name the masjid after you. Right? You're doing it so that people may know how much sacrifice you make for the deen. Whereas if you do it secretly, and oftentimes when you go to fundraisers, they provide these opportunities for you to donate anonymously. Right? Your name will not be announced, etc. This is safe for you. This is much safer for no one to even know. Only Allah should know your good deeds, right? As much as possible. There are some instances that the ulama will mention that you should do things publicly. For example, when you're trying to encourage people to donate or to give the faraid, there's something that's fard, for example, it's okay to expose that because everyone should be doing it anyway. For example, like if you expose giving your zakat, right? Or if you expose praying your faraid, which you're supposed to do anyway in the masjid, right? And so everyone sees you in the masjid praying anyway. But for your nawafil, the things that are extra, right? For the nawafil, it's best if you keep them secret. Now it might be super duper awkward, like if you go to like a fundraiser and the person says, "All right, who will give me the first check for X amount of money?" And nobody speaks up. Right? And then he goes down on lower and lower amounts, and nobody is speaking up. Why? Because they're all trying to hide their sadaqah. Sometimes it's also good to be that person that, just to get the people going, donate something. And you can do things like, do it under your child's name, etc. So there are different ways of doing it. Okay, but I don't want it to be that the next fundraiser, whenever that is, and for whoever that is, nobody is speaking up. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually loves those people that are hidden from the view of the people. Look at this beautiful hadith. Inna Allah yuhibbul abd at-taqiyya al-ghaniyya al-khafiyya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the servant who is God conscious, who is a taqi, a muttaqi person, a person that has taqwa. He's ghani, he's free from want, he has no need, he's independent from anyone else. Right? And also lastly, al-khafi, he's hidden. No one even knows who he is. He just comes and does his thing and he leaves. Right? If he was to disappear the next day, no one would go around asking, "Hey, did you remember this guy? Where is he? I don't see him anymore." He's that hidden of a person. right? But he's super duper pious. You would never know. He's a hidden gem, right? We should strive to be that person. That's that hidden gem. Okay? This is narrated by Imam Muslim. So the first step, right? Number one, which is a big mistake that many people make, is that they don't forget concealing their good deeds. They don't even conceal their sins. Listen to this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, also narrated by Imam Muslim. كل أمتي معافاة إلا المهاجرين مجاهرين sorry وإن من الإجهار أن يعمل العبد بالليل عملا ثم يصبح قد ستره ربه فيقول يا فلان قد عملت البارحة كذا وكذا قد بات يستره ربه فيبيت يستره ربه ويصبح يكشف ستر الله عنه. Allahu Akbar. All the people of my ummah would be forgiven for their sins. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ is saying this. Everyone would be forgiven. Okay, from the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, except those who publicize them. They do jihad of it. They openly tell people what sins they've done. And what that means is that a servant does a bad deed during the night, and tells the people in the morning that he has done so and so bad deed. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had concealed it. No one would even know about it unless he himself told the people. Right? And he does a deed during the day, and when it is night, he tells the people, whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has concealed it. Allahu Akbar. How do we do this? For example, imagine a person goes out, na'udhu billah, may Allah ta'ala save us from all of this, goes out drinking with their friends one day. And what happens? He takes lots of nice pictures. He's got his quote unquote girlfriend, and he posts nice pictures of it because it makes him look good to his non-Muslim friends, or maybe even some of his bad Muslim friends. That, mashallah, look, I've got such a beautiful girlfriend and I was having so much fun. At night, as he's posting pictures on his Facebook, his Instagram, his social media, and his display picture on WhatsApp is him, with his girlfriend. May Allah Ta'ala forgive all of us. And that's one very extreme example, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had concealed that sin of his. But he is going around telling everybody like it's everyone's business. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is concealing your sin, why would you go ahead and expose it? Right? And I wanted to end with this quote today. Something very beautiful. Wahab ibn Munabbih, one of the great narrators of hadith, scholars of the deen, he says this, and I don't even think there's much need to comment on this. So beautiful. He advises his son, "O my son, purify the act of obedience for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a sincere inner reality that affirms the deed you have done for Allah outwardly." Okay? There should be a corresponding sincerity for every public deed that you do. As for the action done in public, do not think that it is a means of salvation any more than the secret one. There, right? Then the whole tree will be good, including the fruits and the leaves. So the appearance of the tree remains good as long as its roots are hidden. Allahu Akbar. With nothing to be seen of them. If the roots of a tree become exposed, what happened? That tree became uprooted. Right? The part that was supposed to be hidden underneath the ground, kept underneath the ground and hidden, if it comes out to the surface, that tree is on very shaky ground. It's about to die. It's about to fall over. The same way our hidden deeds should remain hidden. Our hidden aspects should remain hidden. We should be like the iceberg, right? Where you see a little bit of it on top, but the bulk of it lies beneath the water. Right? All of our deeds, most of them should be hidden. Very few should be publicly exposed. Likewise, the deen of a person remains righteous so long as he has a righteous inner, hidden reality which agrees with his public actions done for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For the public deeds benefit the hidden actions in the same way the roots benefit the tree. And if the leaf's life was there before the root, the branches are a decoration and beauty. Right? What is a tree that has leaves and no roots? Right? It's just outer form. If the hidden deed or reality is the foundation of the deen, then the public deed is what beautifies the deen if a believer performs it seeking only the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the leaves and the flowers that may come on the tree, the fruits, those are all a result of the hard work of the roots. And it beautifies the tree even further. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to become like trees that have very strong, deep roots, and only a small part of it is exposed that needs to be exposed to gain some exposure from sunlight, etc. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from us. Inshallah, we'll continue this topic tomorrow and further. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Please make sure you make dua for this needy slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.